Working with Astro and SSG mode, static site generation, is really powerful. However, sometimes we need certain pages to be generated on the server using SSR, server-side rendering. In these cases, we can use the hybrid mode, but we may run into an issue. To generate dynamic routes in SSG mode, we use getStaticPaths. But if we want those pages to be SSR, this will break and throw an error. Want to see how we can fix it? Let's start with a very simple example. Here's a page showing a list of dog breeds. If we click on one, it takes us to its details. For now, the entire site is built completely in SSG mode. And to display the breed details, we have defined a file with a slug parameter, and inside that file we use getStaticPaths to generate the routes for each breed. In other words, we end up generating an HTML file for each breed. Now it turns out that we need the detail page for a dog breed to be generated in SSR mode because it's going to be updated frequently, and we can't rely on pre-generated pages. So how do we do it? Well, on one hand, we need to configure an adapter so our project supports SSR. We choose the node adapter and install it. Let's go to the terminal and stop whatever is running. And we run an npm install at astrojs/node. The next step is to go to astro.config.mjs. We add the import for that adapter and set it up in the Astro configuration. Here it is. And then we would only need to go to slug.astro and specify that the page will be generated in SSR mode. How do we do this? Well, we come here and add an export const prerender equals false. Let's see what happens. If we do an npm run dev, this seems to work, but if we reload the page, boom, it throws an error. What is the reason for this? Because SSR does not support getStaticPaths. What can we do? So let's go to the code, and instead of getStaticPaths, we're going to use Astro.params. Let's make this a little bigger. And up until now, what we were doing was loading a collection of breeds. Now, what we're going to do is load the data for a single breed. We delete all this code, as well as the props and this breed. And now the slug parameter we have here, we're going to read it from Astro.params. That is, we declare a const, use destructuring, and retrieve it from Astro.params. And to load the data for a specific breed, I have a method in the API called getBreedBySlug. I add it here and invoke getBreedBySlug. I'm going to import it from the API module. I'm going to delete this unused code and this one too. And now I have everything ready to go. Let's go to the application. It's here now. We can navigate, click here, go back, and load the data. The main difference we have now is that every time you request a page for a specific breed, it will be generated again on the server with the latest available data. If you want to play around with the demo, there's a link to the GitHub repository as well as 2 code sandboxes in the comments of this video.